session with Firdous on drawing with the Paintology drawing app available from the Google Play Store. Unfortunately, I tried to make a drawing early on. Some of you might have had an interruption to the drawing. I thought I was actually gone live, but for some reason the the tablet got stuck, frozen, and I was recording for an hour speaking to myself, sadly. But anyway, I'm going to try and cover some of the topics that I was wanted to cover in the lost live session and on here, and hopefully you are getting uh, to see what I'm doing right now. So I had my previous Paintology app uninstalled, so I'm gonna go through the process of installing the Paintology app. So type in Paintology. I came to the Play Store here, Paintology app, and then go there, and then install here. So just simply install, open, then just skip here. And then you're on the home page. So nothing on the My Paintings except a lot of video guides that you can go through and try and get a full understanding of how the app works. But since you're a beginner, possibly I'm going to take you through some of the basics of the drawing. The whole idea of my first defunct live session was the 5 main principles of getting better at drawing. So number 1 would be keep the tools simple, and it applies equally to digital. If you're in traditional, a lot of good teachers will tell you don't just dive in and just get enamored by all these beautiful, wonderful charcoal pencils, prism colors and all that, which is going to add. And of course, yeah, prism color, I would agree, is pretty good. I don't want to badmouth them, but they are actually quite good because of the vibrancy of the color that you get from that. But then it's worth spending a little bit on that when you come to do traditional drawing. But if you are generally starting out from scratch, then your focus should be on developing techniques and skills, and the tools are just there to develop those techniques. Keep that in mind. This is fundamental, very important point. The tools are not going to make you an artist. They somehow don't have magical properties to develop those techniques. Those techniques you have to develop yourself. And when I talk about techniques, what do I mean? It's basically the core skills in art, tones, values, you probably heard so many times, and form, shape, volume, depth, everything, shading, and all that make up good drawing. So if we go to Drive, I'm going to show you some of the artworks that I've already done. So here's one I did that took 10 minutes to do on the Paintology, using 2 brushes, the line brush to do the plant, the shade brush to do the diffused background setting. And here, as you can imagine, this has probably taken longer to do, using 1 brush, I believe, and doing a freehand drawing of this water droplets. And so that brings me to the next point, which is number 2 point, principles of drawing, which is basically to increase the muscle memory, training your muscles. So what do I mean by training your muscles? Well, when you go to a blank canvas, like most apps, you're left to your own devices. It's not really that helpful, right? You start doodling, playing with the tools. You find the app's got so many tools that you can use that. Oh yeah, this sort of somehow clicks with me, and then you start doing it, and then sooner or later you're doing an eye, and then you've got an anime created on the digital, right? Which is fine if you want to do that. But if you continue up that path, you're going to lose out on the core skills, which is what makes drawing and painting less tool and more tool free and less and using your core skills. And what I mean by that is you draw something. So digital muscle memory is basically you draw something, you keep drawing it, and then if you look at that shade, you can actually do a shade here. You can do another shade here, and then you can go white here, and then you have some kind of a depth to this image, and that helps you to develop muscle memory in your brain, in your arms for the drawing strokes and all that. So let's dive in and show you what the muscle memory is all about. Let's go to tutorials. Let's go to trace drawing, yeah? Because remember, these are designed to help you improve your drawing skills. Let's look at this one here. I'm using my fingers. So that one with the video icons allows you to watch a drawing that was made for that specific tutorial, yeah? So here we can see here that it shows you how to go about making this drawing. Okay, can you see here? And then you can click on the bottom left and go back to that your canvas, and you have this trace mode here, and the trace mode means that the image is already loaded. This particular tutorial has the image loaded into your drawing canvas, so you can start practicing on it. So rather than working on a blank canvas and doodling and finding and feeling your way around, why not do real practice? And this is real practice. It's going to develop the muscle memory, the brain, tune your brain into developing good drawing strokes. Like, so we're going to use the line brush and we'll see how much. So we'll pick the color here, and if you use the color picker, it immediately goes, if you're depending on where you are, it will pick the color of the reference image, and this is your drawing canvas. So, and if you use the color picker of your drawing canvas, which is pretty much blank now, right, nothing there, right, so it will all be white. If you go here, I've already picked the canvas, and now I'm going to pick the brush size. No, that's too thick, so I'm going to try and reduce that. I think that's about right. Now I'll reduce a little bit more. Yeah, I'm just checking to make sure that, sorry, checking to make sure that I've done the same thing doesn't happen to me. What happened to, so again, go down, using my fingers, keep going down until you get the right size. Okay, now we've got the right size, then let's just start drawing. Fingers are a wonderful way to draw. I've only discovered that just recently because it gives you real accuracy in your drawing. So, see, I've got that. Just keep drawing like that. The reason I can draw so fast because I've developed my drawing techniques using, I've improved my drawing techniques. Please don't use a eraser. Even though I do have an eraser, they're always used if you undo, okay? Just keep going down, rotating it there. Go really quickly. Don't worry about the accuracy of it yet. Let's see what we have done. See how quickly we managed to do that? And using the same brush size, go with the other outline. Okay, the smaller one brush, we're going to leave it to the end. Let's see if there's anywhere else that requires the larger brush. No. So now we can go and pick a smaller brush size. Let's see, go with that. Yeah, that seems to work well. So again, okay, just do the rest. And any touch-ups you need to do here. Just very quickly. Don't worry about getting it right. Remember, if you think you're going to get it right the first time, you're quite mistaken. Because then what's the idea of practicing anyway, right? And I put practice as the fifth reason for the fifth principle rather than the first, because most artists will put it first, practice, 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 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, 5 hours a day, and they make it look so daunting. And painting should be about fun, right? If it's not fun, well then, and the people who have fun have found their own niche way of drawing, and I'm going to teach you that, this niche way of drawing that keeps you drawing. And everyone should learn to draw because it has huge benefits. Instead of the social media, there you are. See, you could go on and now be creative, right? Let's be creative. Let's go here. So I'm showing this for, normally when you've seen my live stream, you've seen that I've made quite a number of drawings like portraits, landscapes around, and then what should we do? Should do some black hair or brown hair, white, or what color do you think? How about some bluish hair, dark? Because after all, it's an anime character, isn't it? You can be as creative as you want. Nothing to stop you. That's fine, isn't it? You could even go, okay, I'm going to have a white, right? Then even reduce the size, whatever it takes your fancy. So there you are, just one of the drawings that's so easy to do. It's so much better than, let's say, going to a blank canvas and then just doodling and feeling your way around, trying to figure. So this technique, so these are tutorials that you can go there. I'll show you the paint by numbers tutorials. This actually gives you the ability, and let me find you one here. This one you can see here. This you don't need the color picker for that. And all you have is the color palette right there. Number 4. Just keep practicing. This is what your first principles of drawing is building. Second principles, not keep it simple, that's the first. Just continue to do that, follow that, and that's it. That's all you need to do. And if we have a numbered one, like for example this one, we can follow the numbers here, like this, like number 15. So we can go here, then number 5, and then take it down, of course, right, to refine the edges, Don't spend too long with this. And there's a more powerful method, which I will show you, which is block coloring, which I haven't put it into a category yet. And this block coloring is the one that's going to fine-tune those muscle memory in terms of tones and also develop your drawing strokes. And the way that works is you can use the whole journey of drawing is that you love to draw and you have particular subjects in mind. I'm very fond of landscape drawing, and you might have seen that in some of my drawings, and also fond of portraits and other animals, wildlife. So let's go to draw, and let's go to trace, allow, trace, and then pick an image that we can draw. Okay, which is, I was looking through some various. Let's look at this one, right? Yeah, look at this, right? This is an excellent way of doing a great block coloring. So block coloring, what is it? Well, again, it was the principle of trace drawing that I showed you, but it goes into finer granular details. Like, for example, here, let me show you here. Let's stick to line and let's stick to this same brush. Color picker. And then use the color picker. Look at how the colors will change. Then color picker again, and get those tones down. The one that looks uniformly like the tones on that are showing up, that there is in tone. This, you can see, is picking out the tones of that car, right? Look, by selecting the color picker, and at the same time we're putting down the fine tones to provide the detailing. Right, so here, then here, then here, then here, and then you'll see, look, we've created a simple aspect of that drawing, and so we'll continue to build that headlamp here, just to show you how the tone variations make up a drawing. So what you're doing here is you're simply transferring the tones that are showing on this car in little blocks of regions which you are transferring to your drawing. That's it. And that's too thick, right? So we may need to go to a smaller brush, but let's rapidly go through it. Look at the variations in the tones that make up, and that will require a smaller brush. So block coloring at this level means we're going into tiny details, and it's really fun. As you're doing this, you're developing your acute understanding of how the tones change, and that helps you with your freehand drawing. Notice I'm not using any tools. I'm stuck to the same tools. These are techniques that come about through the practice. And if you practice like this, it is, you would agree, it's a lot more fun than having a blank canvas and then finding your way around and doodling. You're not going to get far from doing that. We've got much more powerful technologies like this that you can take full advantage of. And Paintology has been developed to make art drawing easy and simple, and keep developing these techniques. So art is all about techniques. Yeah. So here I'm just laying down with a bigger brush. Notice that I'm just working my way without really thinking too hard about what I'm doing. Just enjoying, developing my strokes as I go, picking out always going for that color picker and picking out the strokes, picking out the tones, and then working my way around it. Look how we've developed that. Now let's keep going. See how the color changes depending where you are in the region. That's the beauty of the tones. That's what makes up. So you can simply pick an image, start making block coloring like this. So much more fun. You can spend hours doing this, but while you're doing it, it really helps you shape your drawing mind. Look how the tones will change all the way down. Okay, look, it's changed so significant, isn't it? You keep doing that and then you'll come across. So what we can do with this is that we can see this is the techniques that you learn. So we can say, well, what are the regions that comprise of this? Well, there are these dark regions, so we might as well put those down, lay down that foundation, right? Just lay down the bigger areas, patches. This, you've probably seen that being utilized in traditional painting. Lay down the first colors. Notice I don't use any layers as such as in digital drawing. So I've laid down these colors that will add the foundation for this this smaller brush, which I can go to right now, and then you can see how easy it is to replicate tones at that minute level. Okay, and then here, you can see that. Then here, then hopefully you'll see where I'm going with this. Yeah, so techniques that see that? That's like coming together, isn't it? And you just carry on, you'll see that it's going to eventually get to what you want. Get to the sort about the grill. These tiny details that make up, following the line of the direction of these strokes, yeah? I just picked a random image so I can show you. Never made this drawing before, so it's very easy with little bit of effort to provide details that wasn't possible. All right, let's see. There you can see with just a little bit of effort where we managed to come, and you carry on doing this beautiful colors, but you'd think that this looks, let's take this brush right to some, and then you'd think that this is one simple tone, and you could be right, you know, but let's try and go across it, and each time picking the tone that's in that region and see if it is what we think it is. Now you can tell that the tone is changing here. So again, just follow the tone. Look at that, it's changing here. Right, up there, there. And if you see change, transition here, pick the different, pick the color picker. Yeah. I can see it changing because the shape is changing the tones here. Okay, that's changing there, color. That's changing that. And then don't worry about getting it exactly right. And if you overlap, you can always fix those afterwards. Look at that, beautiful tones here. And then beautiful dark tones here. See that? Dark tones there, and then it goes light there. This really helps you appreciate tones, trust me. The color tones. And then, as you know, you can stick to black and white to make. Let's see where we are. You can see how it's coming together, right? You can see now, you can almost see what the final form will look like. I mean, this is such a fun drawing. I'm having too much of a good time. Sorry if I'm not passing the right message, but I want you to try this, you know. Take any drawing that you like. I'm not really that keen on mechanical stuff like cars, but the vintage cars is still striking beauty about them, isn't it? Lay down with a bigger brush, and then you can go and just work the details in a smaller brush. Look at that, the tones change here. And look here, and then darker, and then light, light, bit dark, and then it gets dark here. And I've got a really large brush size in comparison, sorry. Look, coming out nicely, isn't it? And you can tell once you've finished, you'll probably have a really good, impressive piece of art. And then you can work on the headlights and all that. So that's what I want to show you. So block coloring. And so the 5 principles are: number 1, even more simpler, don't rush to tools, especially when you want to learn the techniques that I'm showing you. And these techniques just based on 1 or 2 brushes, and that's it. There are no layers as such, you know. That's fine if you want to do logo, graphics, web stuff, anime, illustrations, and I'm an advanced user of Photoshop, but I would never use it as a drawing or even the graphics tablet. These are evolved through doing web graphics, you know, not for drawing in the true sense, which is what the traditional artists love. And if you like drawing in traditionally, then you should try the drawing traditionally in the digital way as well, which is what I've just shown you. And number 2 is muscle memory. So you want to keep practicing, and practicing does not have to be boring. You don't have to start off with a blank canvas and left to your own devices. You have now the ability to practice in the trace mode, which really grounds you and propels you into drawing. You've seen how easy that was to make this drawing. You've seen how easy that is to make this drawing. This is so fun that you're creating your own drawing with, and then learning at the same time the tones. Yeah. So now let's get back. So muscle memory number 3 is I think I refer to as the drawing process, and the drawing process is really key to. It's another fundamental point to drawing, and which was unfortunately in my first pass at making this live session, which is no longer the first one. And I went on about it for an hour, and only to realize I wasn't recording it. So the drawing process is the steps towards going from 0 to the finished drawing. Problem with beginners is that they don't have no idea what that process is, and they just think you need to drill, to do shading, do tones, all the artifacts, which doesn't really, which requires work, but not so interesting. And hopefully, this Paintology will show you how you can overcome those principles using block coloring, tones, doing trace drawing, doing pencil drawings, and I think the final piece was I said practice. I wanted to put practice at the end to show you that there are interesting ways to practice and do drawing and to get yourself much better in drawing. And that's through these practice sessions that you'll find under tutorials. Many tutorials that you'll find. And so if you're a beginner, please keep to smaller, keep to drawings, tutorials that you can handle. Don't over challenge yourself initially. Get comfortable with it, enjoy the experience, and then let yourself develop and pace yourself and let it develop. Yeah. So that I think are the keys to drawing well, and in particular drawing in the Paintology way, which is basically the fundamental way of drawing on trace, which is like traditional, exactly like traditional. And hopefully, you will be able to start following the tutorials that I'm doing. And I am enjoying this journey of drawing myself. So I really, I really think everyone else should give it a try and not think drawing as talent or some magical skill set that you need. It's right there in front of you. It's within your grasp, and you can do it, and you can take it as far as you want to go. So hopefully next time I'll do another session. Hopefully you've enjoyed this session, and I will see you soon. Thank you, and bye bye.